Okay, so now we're going to go into just sort of getting a feel of what padlocks look like, locks look like in general, and how keys interact with the locks, so that you can unlock a padlock, a door, or whatever it might be. So I have here, this is a padlock. I just want to, you to get a little feel for, what it looks like. Pretty basic padlock. It's transparent, so you can see what's happening inside. You see these things right there. Those are the pins itself, and this is the keyway or the keyhole. You can see the pins right here. You have a spring, and you have actually two pins, one that goes inside the actual lock chamber right here, and then another pin that goes on top. And so how locks work is that there's basically something called the shear line, and the shear line is, you see the cylinder right here, and you'll see right where that is, that's called the shear line. And the shear line basically is the point that allows a lock to open or not. And so how a key works, if you notice that, you'll see a key here. Let's see if we can get that into focus. Sort of. Let's try. Maybe that's doing it. So anyways, we'll try our best. I know it's probably not focused that well, but you'll see right here, these little flat areas are actually where what's pushing up these pins right here. And it's not the sharp points, it's actually the flat areas. These sharp points that are usually about 45 degrees allow the key to slide in. If it was, flat or something, you wouldn't be able to put it in. So these angles allow the pins to slide, the key to go in and slide through. And so I'll show you how this works. And this is just an idea so you get a feel for how they work. And so when you're cutting keys, you'll better understand what's happening. You'll know how to problem solve and how to fix a key if there's any issues with it. Okay, so when we put the key into the keyway, this is a specific type of key that works with this padlock. So that's one thing, is finding the right key and then be able to cut it properly. Okay, so when we put the key in, you'll notice these pins up here. You know how they're unleveled, they're not leveled right now. They sort of go up and down. They're sort of, like that. But if you notice that once we put the key in, those pins up top, you see how there's a pin there on top and a pin on the bottom? You'll start seeing all of them level out. If you notice that as soon as we put that key in, all those pins right there are now leveled. So that means that this shear line right here, where that keyhole is, and this chamber right here, allows these pins to be leveled on the shear line, which allows us to now turn the key and to unlock the padlock. So let's say, I don't think any other key is going to fit in here, not these types. But let's say if these were changed, the heights, and there's different depths on the cut. If you notice that this one's a little more shallow, this one's more deep, less shallow, very deep, less shallow, less shallow right here. Those determine how high or how much these pins are moved. So if we, let's say, change this one and made this one a deeper cut, the pin all the way at the end, if you notice that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pins in here, that means there should be 6 grooves here that push at the pin. So 1, 2, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, is that 5 and 6? Let me see where they all line up. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So those flat areas are what pushes up the pins. Any of them were changed, the shear line would not be even, so the pin would basically be stuck in the pinhole, so it won't allow it to turn. So imagine if this is one of the pins and there's 2 pins inside. Once the key pushes it up to here, now this is considered the shear line. You'll now be able to turn that key. So that's pretty much, you know, how locks work in general. So that's why it's so important for these key cuts to be really precise. And so if you look over here, this is just another example of another keyway. This looks like it is probably a door. If you notice, there's 5 pins here, 5 cuts here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 cuts. Pushes the pins up to the proper height. They're all even. The shear line is the same, so it allows the pins to turn. If you notice right here, let's see if I can get a little closer. Those right there are the other pins, and if you notice, they're all perfectly aligned to the keyway cylinder, and that allows us to be able to turn it. You notice that if you take it out now, it's a little rough. I'm not sure why it's so rough. Let's see. It does not want to give me the key back. There it is. Okay, so now the pins are uneven again. This is a different type of key. This is ridiculously tough to get out. It's really odd, actually. Jeez. Anyways, so that's that. This is another example. This is actually, you know, 2 keyholes. If you notice, this works on this side. Let's see if it works on this side. If you notice, it doesn't. It doesn't turn because this key is actually made for this. You see how they all become even right there? We have another key. This is, notice that they're not even and it doesn't allow us to turn. But on this side, you notice that they're uneven. Now we're able to turn it. That's pretty much how locks work for the most part. So most keyways, things like this, have pins like this, and you know, those little metal things right there are called the pins. It's a little spring right there. But yeah, that's the thing that allows a key to turn or not. Okay, so now that you have a pretty good idea of sort of how they work, what I'm going to do now is we're going to go into key selection, and then from there we'll go into key cutting. Okay.